Hello, everyone. Welcome to the NFL Week 5 edition of Stacking the Box. Myself, Iain MacMillan, Sterling Holmes here. What's up, Sterling?
Yo, getting ready to get married, baby. Saturday. Mizzou plays 11 a.m. over A&M in A&M. Mizzou's going to get the dub. Then I'm going to get married at 4 o'clock. And then the Royals, they win the Baltimore series. They play the Yankees at 6.
Wow.
Let's go. What a day for your boy.
You got a big weekend ahead. Big Saturday ahead. Huge. And as we're recording this, the Royals are up. So in game 2. So you might have that series, locked up.
What do you think's on this screen? This is my fiance's. You can tell by the pink and the coffee. Yeah. I put that up and I go, people are going to totally think that all these like girl power sayings are me, aren't they?
I like it. So you got the. I thought about putting them because I'm a kind of a bit of a Mets fan. I've turned into. They're my NL team. Thought about having that on. I don't have it on. Did the Mets game start?
No, it's Houston and Detroit right now. That's getting ready to be bottom 8.
And then Mets 2-2. After that? Yeah. I'm cheering for the Mets to win so I can go to a Mets playoff game in the DS because I will not be going to a Yankees playoff game. I have no desire to go back to Yankee Stadium, which is the worst stadium in professional sports. But we're not here to talk baseball, Sterling. We are here to talk the NFL because it is week 5 of the NFL season, a week 5 that begins tomorrow night, Thursday night, with my Falcons once again back on prime time. What a world for the third time in 5 weeks. I'll say I'm emotionally exhausted of this many Falcons primetime games. I can only take so many. I am happy that the Falcons are in prime time 4 times this season. I wish it was a little bit more spread out.
Welcome to being a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, seriously.
Honestly, primetime games kind of stink because you're used to, as a fan, I honestly, at this point, which is hilarious now, and you're probably thinking the same thing, you're like, I would love the noon or even like a 3 o'clock slot, but because when it's prime time, you want to watch other teams. You want to relax, have nothing going. Monday Night Football, right? I want to watch random football. I want to make some stupid bets that I'm probably going to miss on and enjoy it. Sunday Night Football. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night to not watch my team. I want to watch 2 other teams that I don't care about play a football game. I want to relax. You can't relax when your team's playing.
I do kind of agree, and it's a problem that I kind of forgot about because the Falcons didn't play in the prime time last year. I think they had like maybe 1 or 2 the season before, and they weren't in it. So another big part of your weekend, Sterling, I guess is Monday, not technically part of the weekend, is the Chiefs play on Monday. Now, you are not going to be on the show Monday morning since it's 2 mornings after getting married. So we'll get someone else on here. That's yet to be determined, but when we do go through the picks on the show today, I do want to get your quick thoughts on Saints Chiefs since you won't be on Monday to talk about it. But that
love it.
We got to get through some games before we get to Saints Chiefs. And what we got to get through before we even get to the games is, guess what, people? It is the greatest time of the year again. Football is back and it is here to stay until February. Actually, side note, tonight's the last night in how many straight days of football do we have after tonight? Is it 22 or 42 or it's a lot? After tonight, we got a lot of football, a lot of college football, a lot of NFL. And guess what? Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog. Win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats. I need to rebound on Underdog this Thursday night because last Thursday night I was a Devin Singletary carry away from winning my Underdog lineup. I have not made one yet for Thursday night. I apologize. I'll make one and tweet it out before the game Thursday night. And making picks on Underdog is straightforward and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple to use mobile app or underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Stacking the Box. All one word, Stacking the Box, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Stacking the Box, all one word, to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus or 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and you have to be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Arizona 1-800-NEXT-STEP, which is 1-800-639 8783 or text next step to 53342. New York, call it the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8 Hope NY or text Hope NY to 46736. Text Hope NY, which is 467-369 to that number. All right.
I knew I should have done the legal read. I ripped that legal read out. That's like I'm the Bobby Witt Jr. of speed. I am the Tyreek Hill of quickness in regards to that.
I've had good ad read performances when it comes to the legal stuff. That was not a great performance. That was a C performance, maybe even a C minus.
I'll say C minus for you because I will have high expectations for you. You're like the Falcons, right?
Which I appreciate. Producer Sean did come in with the exact amount. It's 55 straight. I said 25 or 45. It's 55 straight days. I knew it ended in the 5 of football after tonight. So plenty of football to watch the next almost 2 straight months. Plenty of opportunities to make an underdog lineup. So sign up using the promo code Stack in the Box. Let's get into this week's games. Bye weeks have begun. The teams on a bye. Sterling, list them. Chargers are on a bye.
Oh, am I supposed
Lions
to?
are on a bye.
Did you actually want me to list them?
I said that so I could distract a few moments and then I could think of the teams. Chargers are on a bye. Lions are on a bye. The Titans, I was going to say, there's another Monday Night Football team on a bye, and the Eagles. There we go. We got them. Titans, Lions, Eagles.
Chargers.
Okay.
Didn't even have to look it up. That's off the top of the cranium.
Which means there are 14 games for us to watch this weekend, starting with an NFC South battle between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. Winner of this game will be in sole possession of first place of the division. I guess not sole possession. I guess if the Falcons win, they would be first place by tiebreaker because the Bucs would then, they'd both be 3-2. Falcons would be first place by tiebreaker. Devin in the chat says, what's up, Sterling? What is up, Sterling?
What's up, Devin? Talking sports.
Do you getting married this weekend?
Yeah, talking
I want to ask you, Sterling, first about your thoughts for this game. My first question for you about Buccaneers Falcons. As a non-Falcons fan, you're a fan of the Chiefs, so completely separate division, obviously, completely separate conference. Are you excited for this game? Do you care about this game? Does this matchup do anything for you as a fan of an AFC team?
Yeah, more so than I expected. Going into this year, you know my thoughts on the Falcons. I think they're a good team in what I thought was going to be a really bad NFC South. The Buccaneers have surprised me. I expected Baker to take a slight step backwards, but I thought the team as a whole was going to take a maybe more drastic step backwards. They've not. But they are a really interesting team, the Buccaneers, where the variables of them are massive. They remind me of Seattle a little bit. Those teams who maybe have average to above average quarterbacks, but they have a lot of variance. The Buccaneers could go out and put up 35 points. I would not be surprised. If the Buccaneers came out and put up 10 and Baker Mayfield throws 3 interceptions, I also wouldn't be surprised. Like if the Falcons did that, I would be surprised. If the Chiefs did that, I would be surprised. The Buccaneers are a team that I think 75% of the time you're going to get a good game with. But there's that quarter of a time, 4 or 5 times a season, where you sit back and go, what did I just watch? That was atrocious. So what Buccaneers team are we going to get this time around, right? That's my one concern. I think we'll know in the first half. You'll know maybe even in the first quarter. But I will be tuned into this game because, again, if the Buccaneers impress and they win this game and the Falcons fall yet again behind a little bit in the NFC South, I'm going to have some real serious questions about the Falcons. I thought they were a good team. They have been trending, I think, the correct direction. Although maybe we have different thoughts if Younghoe Koo misses that 58-yard field goal. Maybe we're sitting here going, wow, write the Falcons off. This is a big game to me for the Falcons more so than the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I do have I have almost more thoughts about the Falcons than maybe I've ever had. This is not a Falcons podcast, so I will try to give you the cliff notes of this Falcons team and how I feel about them. Number one, they're 2-2. It doesn't matter how we got to 2-2. We're 2-2. Should we have lost the Saints game? Maybe. Younghoe Koo nailed the 58-yarder, which I did not think Younghoe Koo had a 58-yarder in him. He is known as an accurate kicker, not a distance guy, but he made the kick. But then look at the Chiefs game. I mean, we've had that discussion. We don't need to go down that road again, but that was also a game where a couple things go the Falcons' way. The Falcons win that game, which I don't think we can argue with, correct?
Sure. No. I mean, again, you never apologize for winning in the NFL. The Falcons should not apologize for beating the Saints on a 58-yard field goal. They made it.
My point there is, heading into the season, I said the Falcons would be 2-2 after the first 4 weeks. We are 2-2 after the 4 weeks. It didn't come the way that I thought. I thought we were going to beat the Steelers. I thought that was the easiest game of the first 4 games. I didn't necessarily think we were going to beat the Eagles. In the day, we're 2-2. I am concerned now about the Falcons' schedule, Sterling, because before the season started, the Falcons had by far the easiest schedule in the NFL based on opponent projected win totals. The Falcons finished 3rd place in their division last year, so they're playing a 3rd place schedule. The teams that are 3rd place that they're playing because they finished 3rd last year are now either winning their division or, in the case of the Vikings, 1st place in the NFC. So the Falcons, and now based on opponent win percentage, the Falcons now have the 5th toughest schedule the rest of the way out. It was supposed to be a tough 4 weeks, and then we were supposed to coast to the finish line the rest of the way. That's not going to be the case anymore. The Vikings, who were a 3rd place team last year, 4-0, leads the NFC. The Seahawks, 1st place in the NFC West, a 3rd place team they have to play. They already played the AFC North 3rd place team, the Steelers. They lost to them. So a schedule that a month ago looked like it was going to be a cakewalk in the second half is all of a sudden not the case. There's some other teams that were supposed to be bad that are all of a sudden good in our schedule. The Commanders is going to be a tough game when we play them. So now, because the schedule has become a lot more difficult than it was supposed to be, this game is massive. Now, when it comes down to the Falcons specifically and what they've done and how they've played, I'm not concerned about their defense. They can't rush the passer, but I knew that heading in the season. Outside of that, defensively, they've played pretty solid. The Falcons need to do better on 3rd down and red zone, because that's where they're killing themselves in those spots. Right now, 29th in the NFL in 3rd down conversion rate, getting a first down on only 26.32% of their 3rd downs. Red zone, they're terrible. 29th in red zone touchdown scoring percentage, scoring a touchdown on only 40% of their red zone trips. And that makes sense, because when I've watched this Falcons team, it feels like they're moving the ball, but then they get nothing to show for it. And that's what it comes down to. I actually saw a tweet as well earlier. They're also, I can't find the tweet, but they're also getting a lot of offensive penalties in key moments offensively, which has killed them as well. I don't know if that's the case of an offense not being skilled. I think it's more of a case of Zach Robinson maybe play calling. You know, he's a brand new offensive coordinator. Maybe he's still finding his stride a little bit. The guys on offense need to find a little bit more chemistry with each other. New quarterback in a new system, still coming off an injury. But the Falcons, at the end of the day, I still think they have all the pieces. They got to fix their 3rd down and red zone offense, or this season's going to get out of hand. So Thursday night, if I'm telling a non-Falcons and non-Buccaneers fan what to keep an eye on, because this is going to be an indication of not only the Falcons' success in this game, but moving forward, 3rd down and red zone. We got to convert 3rd downs, and we got to score touchdowns when we get down the red zone.
Yeah, I would concur.
That was a long-winded answer of all of my feelings, as short of a rant as I could go on. So we don't need to spend any more time in that game. Just keep an eye on 3rd down and red zone. If we can do that, we can beat the Bucs, and we're in a great spot heading down the rest of the season. Panthers in week 6, which should be a win. But another team, Sterling. The Panthers are supposed to be an easy win. All of a sudden, not an easy win. Let's move on to Sunday's game, if you're okay with that. Unless you have any
I
more
would love to move on to Sunday's game.
Well, you know what? No, let's spend another 10 minutes talking about the Falcons. Well, shout out Matthew in the chat here. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs are going to sail to Atlanta and make Kirk Cousins and the Falcons walk the plank on Thursday Night Football. Bucs win. While I disagree and I don't like the take, I do like the fact that you made like Buccaneers themed.
Yeah, I like that, Matthew. That was nice. I actually am a fan of that. Again, I think the Falcons win, but I love the how you wrote that. Eloquent.
Yes. Sunday, we got a Sunday morning game. Sterling, morning after a wedding. I don't think you're going to be up in time for this one. Especially,
shockingly, I don't think I will be.
Especially the time zone you live in. It's even earlier. This is 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So what is that? 7:30 for you?
8:30.
8:30. Jets Vikings, the first London game. I believe 3 weeks in a row we have games in London. This is the first one, and the Jaguars play back-to-back games in London. Jets Vikings. I brought up the Vikings earlier. The Vikings team that was not supposed to be good. Not only are they 4-0, not only are they the last undefeated team in the NFC, but they have beaten the likes of the 49ers, Texans, and Packers. And they've done it while looking good. And they have the metrics and the stats to back it up. Sterling, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think going into this year, we thought, okay, yeah, one of these two teams will be good in London. We thought it was going to be the Jets. It's been the Vikings. The Jets, maybe we should have expected it more. I think you were more or less on board with Aaron Rodgers taking a step back, or at least maybe being an issue at times. He's been an issue at times. Mm-hmm. The cadence and the Robert Saleh drama and everything going on there, it does not seem like a well-oiled machine. I do think the Jets are a really talented team, and I think the Jets are a more talented team than the Vikings. But it's not just about talent. That's not all that matters in the NFL. Everyone's talented. The Vikings right now are doing more with less, and they're doing it convincingly. And the biggest takeaway for me at least, is their defense. And that's what I think helps them in this game specifically. Defense should travel, right? That's kind of always the talking point. Defense travels. Well, if defense travels, one, this should be the under, right? The under should hit. But the Vikings should put a ton of pressure on an offensive line of the Vikings that has struggled. An offensive line that's been a little bit discombobulated. Will they get better as the season progresses? They should. With Aaron Rodgers' cadence and all the stuff that he tries to do, the intricacies that he brings up compared to guys like Zach Wilson, yeah, that's going to be confusing for an offensive line with a lot of new pieces. I think week 5 in London, I'm going to go with the Vikings. And maybe this is me being silly that I'm finally on the Vikings hype train, and now probably I'm the reason why they go off and crash. But I think the defense will travel, and they're going to put a lot of pressure on Rodgers, and that's going to end up in a Vikings win.
This is the week that I'm going all in on sell high, buy low. So the Vikings are a team that I'm selling high on this week. And yes, you made some good points about the Vikings defense going up against the Jets offensive line, but I would make the same point the other way around, where this is going to be the best defense Sam Darnold has faced. Because yes, the Vikings have beaten some good teams, but the teams they've beaten are more so known for their offense than their defense. The Texans, the 49ers, whose defense has not been good this year. The Packers, whose I would say their offense is better than their defense. This is the first good team the Vikings play who their strength is defense. This is going to be by far the toughest test for Sam Darnold so far since being a Viking. I'm interested to see how that works out.
I do think the Packers defense has played pretty darn good though, for the most part. For the most part.
Sure. Yeah.
Last week was bad, but for the most part, they've Jair Alexander, McKinney, the safety, was 4 interceptions. Like, they've made some plays.
Yes, and I don't want to say the Packers defense is bad, but I would still put the Jets defense as a better. I would still stick to my belief that this is the best defense Sam Darnold has faced this season. You think Packers better defense than Jets?
No, I would agree. The Niners have been disappointing, and the Texans have been okay.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the Browns and the Commanders. I mean, I just said, Sterling, my theme this week is sell high, buy low. I don't think there's a team that we can sell high on more than the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I don't think the Browns are good.
I know,
you know what I'm saying?
Maybe
the under's the move here more than anything. Maybe Jaden Daniels in the offense takes a slight step back. I mean, the Browns are still a fairly talented team. They just can't score points. They just can't move the ball offensively. They cannot score touchdowns. I think in this game specifically, I'm with you on the selling high to an extent with the Commanders. Like, I think Jaden Daniels long-term is a great quarterback, but can he keep us up for, 5 weeks in a row, whatever it would be? Give me the under in this one. That's what I think makes the most sense.
Yeah, so everyone's praising the Commanders' offense and Jaden Daniels, rightfully so. Very impressive start to the season. But let's just take a quick look at the defenses they've played. The Buccaneers, the Giants, the Bengals, and the Cardinals. The best defense there are the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers are at best an average defense. I would make the argument they're a below average defense, and that's the game they lost. The other 3 defenses they played, the Giants, Bengals, and Giants, not good. Giants defense, not good. Bengals and Cardinals are two bottom 5 defenses. So this is by far, even though the Browns defense is not the elite unit it was last year, this is by far the best defense. It's similar to what I was saying about Sam Darnold and the Vikings, but I think even more so. By far the best defense that Jaden Daniels in this offense has had to play. They have had, I was going to say, a cupcake schedule. And in terms of the defenses of the teams they played, they've had a cupcake schedule. So, sell high. Yeah, trying to take the Browns with it being at a 3-point spread. I'm going to take the Browns. Magic number 3.
And I like the under. So that means the Commanders win by 30 points in the overhits. Yeah.
51-38 final score.
Yeah.
Ravens and Bengals. Sterling, I think we were kind of both surprised about the point spread for this game because it is, I think we talked about it on Monday.
Yeah.
If I'm correct. It's at 2.5. Obviously in favor of the Ravens. It is in Cincinnati. That is worth noting. It did open up actually Ravens -1. It got bet up to 2.5, which is where it has stayed. But neither of us, I think, are kind of high on the Bengals. I think we both agree, Sterling, that they are very good offensively, and they've looked good offensively the past couple of weeks. But in my opinion, and I think you might agree, to hang with the elite teams of the NFL, and I think we can say the Ravens are an elite team in the NFL, you got to be at least competent on both sides of the football. You can't have one of your offense or your defense being a bottom 5 unit, and that's what the Bengals have with their defense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Ravens win this game. They probably win by closer to a touchdown. The Bengals offense does look good. Like, yes. If you're a Bengals fan, you should be excited that at least Joe Burrow looks like he's back and the hand injury's not bothering him. That Jamar and T. Higgins last week, T. Higgins finally got involved. Obviously, Josevich looks like a legitimate wide receiver 3, bordering wide receiver 2. Jermaine Burton has shown flashes. The combo of Chase Brown and Zach Moss has actually been a nice little 1-2. But the defense is really, really bad. And a really bad defense against a offense that possesses Lamar Jackson feels like I'm going to roll with Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. So give me Lamar Jackson in the Ravens.
Now, if you are someone out there who does bet and you believe in trap lines, this might be the biggest trap, because the Ravens -2.5 seems like the most obvious bet of all time. Maybe that means the Bengals win. I don't know. We'll see. That is an interesting game. I'm a little bit surprised it's not a primetime game. Maybe the second matchup between these two teams are primetime. But we'll get to the Sunday Night Football game, which is not the best matchup, but I mean, here's my prediction. I'll save it till we get to that game. Bills Texans. Surprise, this isn't primetime. Kind of a sneaky good lineup of games this weekend. Bills Texans. The Texans actually opened as 1-point favorites. This game is flipped. Now the Bills are 1-point favorites. This is a measuring stick for both teams.
Yeah, I love this game. These are two of the AFC second and third and fourth, wherever you put the Ravens, two of the top 4 teams in the AFC. I want the Bills to prove that game against the Ravens was the outlier.
Yes.
That's what I want to see happen. Even if they lose this game, they can lose this game, and I'm still going to have faith in the Bills, but if the Texans get up again, right? Let's say the Texans get a lead. What happens to the Bills? Do they get really one-dimensional again? Do they struggle to move the football? Can their wide receivers get separation? That's what I want to see. To me, the Bills have the most on the line in this game, and they can even lose this game, and I still would feel okay about them. But you got to prove that Ravens game was the outlier in the first 3 games. Which Bills team are you?
I would also say a similar thing to be said about the Texans, where if they lose handily, if the Bills run away with this, then you look at the Texans as like, oh, they're not there yet. Because then you're looking at a Texans team 3-2 with 2 blowout losses, one to the Vikings, one to the Bills.
Yeah, I do think some of the injuries have played a role for the Texans, which every team has injuries, so maybe it's a little unfair, right? That's maybe a little unfair for me to give the Texans a pass in that situation. For me, I just think there's more on the Bills. The Bills, to me, I need to see more from them than I do the Texans.
Yes, especially because the Texans are a young team, so I'm going to be more forgiving to the Texans than I'm the Bills.
Yeah, more variance.
Yes. Panthers and Bears. Bears 4-point home favorites. I was shocked last week that the Bears weren't able to move the ball more than they did against the Rams defense, which has not been a good defense, which has been a banged up defense, which ranks almost dead last in every single defensive statistic. Still, the Bears offense did enough to win the game, but did still not look good. Still struggled moving the ball. So I don't know if they're 4-point favorites. I don't know if there's a team out there who want to lay 4 points on against the Bears right now.
Yeah, the Panthers look better. I get what you meant there. The Panthers look better with Andy Dalton at quarterback, obviously, but is it going to continue? They put up 24 last week, a little bit less than the explosion they had the week prior. I'm always intrigued when a backup quarterback like that gets inserted. It always feels like their first game, wow, he should have been the starter all along. Then the second game is always like, well, yeah, but he still had a good game, right? That was still solid. And then the third game is always like, all right, maybe this is why he was the backup. Well, this is game 3, right? This is game 3 of Dalton.
Yep.
This is a huge one in my mind to see, do the Panthers stick with Andy Dalton? How long do they stick with Andy Dalton? And then the Bears, you can't lose this one. You can't. If you're trying to make the playoffs, I don't care, rookie quarterback or not. This is a game you have to win. To me, there's a lot of pressure on the Bears.
Yeah, not only is this a third game for Andy Dalton, but it's going to be the best defense he's faced. Because the Raiders' defense actually kind of disappointing this year, to be honest. Bengals' defense not good. Now he takes on a Bears defense, which has been pretty solid this year, especially their secondary has been very good. So, yeah, tough one to kind of figure out. Colts, Jaguars. Are you out on the Jaguars?
Yeah, I've been out, but you knew that.
Are you surprised that they're actually, I have 2.5. They've actually moved up to 3-point favorites in this one. Are you surprised about that?
Well, no, with the concerns of Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson's going to miss this game, then no, I'm not surprised. Anthony's not looked good to begin with when he has been healthy. He's been very hit or miss, mostly miss. The Jags, I just don't see anything here, though. I would rip the under in a heartbeat. I don't think either defense is especially talented by any means, but I think the offenses are worse. This, to me, seems like an easy under.
I got two main comments. Number one, I actually think the Colts have a better chance of winning this game with Joe Flacco.
Okay.
I
mean, I don't think it's that hot of. I don't think it's like that hot of a take.
Well, no.
I don't
mean,
necessarily.
He looked pretty good when he subbed in for them this past week in Steelers.
I'm not saying necessarily agree that they're better.
He certainly doesn't have the mobility that Anthony Richardson has, so he's obviously one-dimensional. Okay, maybe it's not a hot take. Maybe it's just an opinion. The other take I have is that and I'll ask this in the form of a question, Sterling. If the Jaguars were 2-2, would you feel differently about their chances in this game?
Maybe. But even then, like what we've seen from them, though, has not been... nothing that we've seen from the Jags screams, this is a borderline playoff team.
But but I guess that's kind of like where my question comes from, is that because in 3 of their 4 losses, now the game, and what actually hurts them even more is the game that they were terrible in was the primetime game. So that's a game everyone sat down and watched against the Bills in week 3 on Monday Night Football.
Sure,
but
agree.
The other 3 games, all 3 of them, they had chances. And in 2 of them, extremely good chances to win and kind of let it slip through. Week 1, they had ETN was about to walk in the end zone for a touchdown that would have sealed it. He fumbled it. Dolphins go down and score.
But that's what bad teams do, Ian. Like it's the NFL. Parity is king. Parity reigns supreme in the NFL. There's always going to be a handful of plays. Good teams make them. Great teams make them consistently, and bad teams lose them. And after they complain, hey, well, we're only 1 play away. If this went our way, if this bounced, because they failed to realize all the other bounces that went their way in that game, that always gets thrown by the wayside. No one ever brings those one up as far as what helps them. They're a bad team right now, and they're playing bad football.
All right. I see where you're coming from. This early in the season, I mean, like I said, though, you let 3 of your 4 games slip through your fingers. Let's say even just go 2-1 in those games or 2-2, like, That's literally, you take 3 plays and you flip the result of those 3 plays, and it's a completely different season for them. So I guess all I'm trying to say is I'm not out on the Jaguars yet, and I think they win and cover in this game.
Okay.
Dolphins, Patriots. The total's 35.5. Do we care about the Dolphins, Patriots at all?
And that feels about 10 points too high.
Yeah. I guess the question for this game is like, what's going on in Miami? Is Mike McDaniel going to get fired?
Dude, I said, no, he's not getting fired. But I did say Mike McDaniels is just Josh McDaniels with Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh, I don't agree with that. Why? Because they have the same last name? Yeah. Talk about an offensive coordinator who thrived 20 years ago. I think they're actually kind of complete opposites in some sense.
I'm more or less being a smart ass.
Right.
But the guy that always thinks that's the smartest guy in the room. Right. Yes. It does feel like that was Josh's downfall, and it does seem like that to Mike. Mike always feels like he's given out the persona that he's the smartest guy in the room, all that stuff. Right. It's hard to win in the NFL, and it's hard to win when you have 0 backup quarterback, especially. Patriots might go to Antonio Gibson as a starting running back, just for fantasy football listeners out there. At least more of a timeshare with Ramondre Stevenson fumbling all the time now. So something to at least keep in mind.
I do think it's funny you bring up the McDaniels comparison, though, because I do think they both had similar issues, but kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, where like Josh McDaniels was like so stubborn that the way he called offenses and ran offenses 20 years ago would still work today was kind of his downfall. And Mike McDaniel's issue was kind of the opposite, where like he like big brains everything, and he tries to run his offense in a way that's just like almost too new school.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
And again, it all comes from one spot. Ego.
Yeah.
Trying to be the smartest guy in the room.
Sure. Yep. So that is a game that will happen. Cardinals, 49ers touchdown favorites. 49ers kind of rolled the Patriots, but if you watch that game sneakily, like the Patriots had chances to get back in that game and didn't execute. Once again, though, like you've said, that's kind of a sign of a bad team and a sign of a good team of the 49ers to not allow that to happen. But now they're touchdown favorites against a much better offensive team in Arizona. But I will say the Cardinals have offensively hiccuped the past 2 weeks, especially last week. They played a Commanders defense they should have been able to just torch, and they couldn't. Concerning about the Cardinals for sure that they couldn't torch the Commanders last week.
Yeah, the Cardinals started off pretty fun. Like they're that fun average team, fun below average team. Where you're like they're going to be frisky. They've not been frisky the past couple of weeks. They've not been fun to watch. It's been bad defense, bad offense. Mm-hmm. The Niners, I think, are starting to prove that, hey, okay, we're still a good team. We're still the 49ers. We've had a couple of hiccups, but we found out the Vikings are good. No, the Niners have not played good football. Maybe 7 points is too much. But at the same time, I need to start seeing more from the Cardinals. The Niners, I think we all agree, are going to be there when it's all said and done.
Yeah,
right.
Probably.
They could go 11-6, and I'd still be like, they're one of the best teams in the NFC.
Yeah,
just talent wise, we know that. Come playoff time, I would still pick them to win a couple games. The Cardinals, though, offensively got to get it going because defensively they're not good. We knew that. Mm-hmm. They were only going to stay in games based on their offense, and now their offense has struggled. That can't happen.
Yeah, I agree. Raiders and Broncos. I am kind of turning into a Broncos guy, at least in the sense that I've bet on the Broncos, I think, all 4 weeks this season, and they've covered for me the last 2 weeks. I just don't think enough people are talking about how good their defense is. I mean, you want to trash on Aaron Rodgers, and maybe rightfully so last week against the Jets, but give credit to the Broncos defense for what they've done this season.
Yeah, the Broncos D has really impressed me, even with the loss of Justin Simmons. You know, I had no idea if the Broncos D was going to take at least a step back. They've not. They've been really good. Raiders-wise, I don't know what to think of them. I really don't. Like, there's so much disarray going on right now. Like, Antonio Pierce was supposed to come in and bring the whole Raiders mantra back, and now there's finger-pointing going on. Devontae Adams wants out. He wants a trade.
Yeah.
I mean, it was supposed to be a culture shock in a good way for the Raiders. It's not been that. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is when you buy on the Raiders, right? Whenever like everything goes and everything looks bad, that's when a team comes out and wins. I'm going with the Raiders in this one. Again, I just don't believe in Bo Nix at all. You know my thoughts on that. I think the Broncos offensively are anemic, to put it lightly, and I think the Raiders have at least a below-average offense, even though Zamir White and Alexander Mattison have been just brutal, so brutal efficiency-wise on the ground. I still think the Raiders offensively are better than Denver.
Yeah, I would say the Raiders offense has been a little bit better than Denver, but I do think the best unit in this game by a long shot is the Broncos defense. So that is why I'm taking the Broncos.
Fair.
Giants and Seahawks. The Seahawks, fascinating case. The Seahawks, from analytics and a metric standpoint, Matthew says Raiders and Broncos, can they both lose? They can tie. They can tie, which, hey, I wouldn't put it past this game ending in a tie.
5-5. Somehow two safeties.
I would love that. Giants, Seahawks. The Seahawks defense through the first 3 weeks, from analytics and a metric standpoint, was the best defense in the NFL. I had the question of whether or not the Seahawks defense was that good because they had played the Tua-less Dolphins, the Patriots, and the Broncos, and it turns out yes, at least to some extent, because then Jared Goff pitched a perfect game, quite literally. He not only did not throw an incompletion, he also caught a touchdown. Which I know, obviously, I think he only threw like 18 passes, but I don't think enough people are talking about how historic of a performance that is.
Yeah,
we're never going to see in the NFL a guy complete all of his passes if it's like more than 15 and also catch a touchdown.
He was so efficient. So efficient. I love the Lions offense. But you're right on the Seahawks. But luckily for them, they're playing, again, a really bad team. Daniel Jones put up some numbers last week. Yeah. Like, the numbers Daniel Jones put up looked nice. But it's still leaving a lot to be desired when you watch the game. Malik Neighbors looks incredible. He's open every single play. Wan'Dale Robinson is getting open a lot as well. It didn't help that Darius Slayton dropped a couple balls. Wan'Dale could have helped out DJ a couple more as well. So it's not all Daniel Jones' fault by any means. I like the Seahawks. You know, they're the Buccaneers to me, where they're very when they're hot, they're hot. When they're bad, oh wow, they're bad. And I think you'll see a good Seahawks team at home in this one against a bad Giants team. I could see a double-digit win.
I do agree with me trashing on the Seahawks for defense performance on Monday night. I think this is a huge bounce-back game. I think they roll the Giants. Rip through these last couple of games, and then we'll get to our picks for this week. And I also, by the way, have done up our season-to-date records, so we'll get to those. Packers and Rams. Rams are still banged up. I don't know if they have any of their starters back this week, but they're still such a banged up team, and I think the Packers might win by double digits.
Yeah. Well, double digits is probably too bold for me. I've been impressed, at least a good chunk of the Rams' ability to stay in games, win games, even with the injuries. Kyron Williams is solid, and Matt Stafford, as long as he's healthy, at least, is a difference maker at quarterback. Jordan Love, I don't know what to take away from that last performance. 4 touchdowns. Look at all the yards. But look at all the interceptions. And if you watch that game, he had about 2 or 3 more that probably should have been intercepted. The first half, the first 3 quarters even, you're sitting here going, maybe they should have stuck with Malik Willis one more week to let Jordan Love get fully healthy. Maybe Jordan Love's still injured. Then the fourth quarter came alive, and Jordan Love looked like the Jordan Love we're used to watching. If the Rams are opportunistic in this game and you get the Packers behind, Jordan Love is apt to make a mistake. Jordan Love has to be more Jordan Love needs to take care of the football more. And we saw some of the issues last year, and then the playoffs came around, and he was very efficient. But that was why I had some concerns with Jordan Love and the Packers heading into this season. He can get a little wild. He can make some mistakes. And the Rams could be a defense and a team that could force him to make mistakes.
Yeah, I do think Jordan Love had a little, I don't want to say rust because it's only 2 weeks that he missed, but I do think he needed a bit of time to kind of get back into the mix. And now I think with another game under his belt last week, I think he's going to come out firing. And I'll leave this game with this thought, and that's why I'm backing the Packers. The Packers rank second in the NFL right now in yards per play, averaging 6.4. The Rams are dead last in opponent yards per play, allowing 6.4. So unless Matt Stafford figures out how to, put up, he might have to score 35 points for the Rams to even be in this game, which he could. But yeah, I like the Packers a lot. Sunday Night Football. I don't really care about either of these teams, but my prediction for this game that I was going to say earlier, this is going to be the most watched regular season Sunday Night Football game of all time. It's the Cowboys and the Steelers. It's the 2 biggest fan bases. It's the 2 fan bases that no matter where they play, they have fans of their team in the stadium. This is going to be the most watched Sunday night because we've already seen records being broken already this year. Cowboys Steelers is going to be the most watched game of all time. That's
wild. I didn't think of it, but that's a pretty good call, even if it's not two great teams. Right. Steelers have been impressive overall. Right? I think we can agree there that they've been better than we expected. Yep. Justin Fields has been a lot better than expected. I don't understand why people were blaming Fields for the loss last week. He was also the reason they were in that game. It's not like the Steelers offensively are robust with talent. They're not. Fields is having to do a lot. I've been impressed. Cowboys, on the other hand, I'm surprised they aren't favored though in this game. I'm not. For all the love I want to give the Steelers for what they've done so far, I still think the Cowboys are a better team.
I agree. I mean, I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to our picks here in a second. But yeah, the Steelers have been impressive, but they are a defense first team, even though, Justin Fields has been efficient. They are still a team that needs their defense to play. They're not going to win a game, 35-28. They're going to win low scoring games. So can they do that against the Cowboys? I mean, the Cowboys, to be honest, have not been good through the first 4 games. I think if you base the line on this game solely on how the first 4 games of the season has gone, it makes sense why the Steelers are favored. But I don't think you can or should base your line solely on how 4 games have gone.
Yeah, I'm ripping the Cowboys.
Before we get to our picks, just really quick thoughts, since you're not going to be on Monday, for the Saints-Chiefs game on Monday night.
Derek Carr does not play good against the Chiefs, and he especially does not play good at Arrowhead. I'm going to be at this game, so I'm actually looking forward to this. This is going to be fun. I'll be at the Chiefs game at Arrowhead on Monday night. The Chiefs offense, they need to bounce back. Rashee Rice, out. Isaiah Pacheco, out. Hollywood Brown, out. But Travis Kelce came back and looked really good last week. That's a big development. Xavier Worthy looks really good, right? Kareem Hunt looked like he had some juice. The offensive line's been good, but Mahomes has been bailing out of pockets early, which is a little perplexing. The defense of Kansas City, though, is elite. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. I think the Chiefs' defense is elite. I know you and I go back and forth on that. They're so dang good. Maybe the under's the move in this game. I think it might be a little bit more of a slugfest, a little fewer possessions, long drives that end in field goals, some red zone struggles. If this was an 8-possession game, 9-possession game total, I would not be surprised. I'll take the Chiefs, but I don't know if they cover.
All right, and I'll give my thoughts on that game on the Monday morning show. I'll be joined by someone else. Once again, yet to be determined. Let's get to our picks for this week, and then we'll wrap up the show. We can rip through these here if you want. Records, though, so far this season, I am profitable, but I am 5-6-1. I got to push in there. But because my upset pick in week 2 was the Saints over the Cowboys, which was over 2-1, I'm slightly profitable despite having a losing record. So I'm 5-6-1 for plus 0.14 units. Profit is profit. Sterling, you were having a very good season, 7-5 plus 2.18 units. So we are both profitable through week 4.
It's all about the upsets, baby. All about the upsets.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you start us off? I mean, it was a game we were just talking about. Your best spread bet for this week.
Yeah, Cowboys plus 2.5. One, I don't think the Cowboys lose, but if you're going to give me points, give me the Cowboys plus 2.5.
And I will take the Packers minus 3.5 against the Rams for the reasons I talked about earlier. I think the Packers offense is going to have an absolute field day against this Rams defense. So Rams defense, just about every simple metric, advanced metric, if you want to bring up EPA and success rate, all those things, Rams are bottom 3, if not dead last defensively. So until the Rams get significantly healthier, I'm out. I'm out on the Rams. Favorite total bet.
I'm doing Browns Commanders under 45. I switched it. I was originally going to be the Patriots under 35, whatever that was. 45 just seems too much, though, for the Browns and the Commanders. The Browns offense is bad. Their defense is above average. Commanders offense is above average, but their defense is atrocious. I don't think the Browns offense is apt or has the ability to take advantage of the Commanders' weakness. While I think the Commanders' offensive will take a step back against the Browns. Give me the under.
So I bet on all 272 NFL games, as you know, and every single week. Usually I have at least one total bet. I do not have a total bet for this week, actually. So I did have to just kind of throw one in there. I will take the over between the Ravens and the Bengals, over 50.5. I think anytime you want to bet on an over a Bengals game is probably going to be a good bet because their offense is great, their defense stinks, and the Ravens' offense has been fantastic this season as well, leads the NFL in yards per play. So I'll take Ravens Bengals over 50.5.
Like it.
Upset. We're doubling up on the Cowboys because you took Cowboys plus 2.5 as your spread bet. I will take the Cowboys to win outright against the Steelers plus 120 for all the reasons we discussed.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, we're in agreement there. That was the one I was going to take, but you got to the show sheet first, so congratulations. I'm going Raiders over Broncos. Raiders over Broncos.
All right. I'm on. I don't love that pick. I'm on the other side, the Broncos, but which does make me nervous because you have been very good at calling upsets. So we'll see how that pans out.
Both are -2.5. So
Yep,
it's fair. Look at me. I didn't take the shortest one. Heck,
Yeah,
I might take Colts too. I might just double down, just keep throwing them out there.
You're gonna take the Colts?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm taking.
I'm
Raiders.
surprised you just didn't go with like the Dolphins +1.
Then the
Smallest
Dolphins
underdog
lose.
on the board. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. All right. So that is our show. Be sure to sign up for Underdog and use the code Stack in the Box. When you do, you'll get a free pick in your first cash pick'em entry plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Thank you all so much for watching. Sterling, congratulations on the wedding. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Saturday. This might be the biggest Saturday of your life between the Royals, your wedding, and
Mizzou football.
So
let's go.
I'm happy for you. I'll talk to you. Sterling, are you going to be back for Wednesday's show?
Yeah, of course, baby. I'll be back for you. Come on, Iain.
I'll miss you, but I will talk to you next Wednesday, and I'll be back for everyone to recap Week 5, Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, with a yet-to-be-determined co-host. You know what? Maybe I'll just do it by myself and just rant in the camera for an hour. I've done it before.
Strong.
No, do that.
You know what? I would watch that, though.
I appreciate it. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you next week.